shit.
Computer.
And one. And we're rolling. All right, tonight, welcome back on Paranormal Vantage Point. We got a great friend of mine, a demonologist by the name of Rich Valdes. So, well, thank you, Rich, for coming on, man. It was glad to have you here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to say for the past couple of weeks, I've been getting a lot of interesting comments going, oh, this is going to be great. A demonologist coming on a Skeptics podcast. And I'm going, you know, the one thing people don't know, that me and you go way back.
Yeah.
Me and you, like, we met a long time ago. I mean, it was like, very long time ago. Well, a lot of people don't know that because, help me refresh my memory. But there was a group.
I'm getting old, man. You know.
Hey, I'm up there with you, brother. So,
right? I'm still. You got to catch up to me. I'm 53, going on 54. So.
Hey, I'm just right behind you, man. I mean, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, you're nipping my heels. We'll see.
Okay, there was a group called the Paranormal Clergy.
Yeah, still.
That was founded by Bishop Long.
Yes.
And you were one of the administrators.
God, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was on a team with a very great friend of mine named Shanna Ledman. We were on a team called iGhost. And we were one of the ones in Indiana that did the clergy cases.
Miss Shanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good people.
She is. I haven't had a chance to really because I work midnight, so it's hard for me to keep up with people, but we kind of like touch base a little bit on Facebook here and there. So, but I mean, she was always like a sister to me, you know.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, little sister to me, but you know.
Yeah, we're gonna be bitching all night long and how
old we are. Dirt has nothing on us.
So how old were you during that Super Bowl?
Oh, I was so damn old. Yeah. They built a stadium around me
right
back in 1942. So,
you know, like I pulled that crap a long time. Like it was just a couple weeks ago because I go into Kroger in Mooresville once on a blue moon.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and this kid's bagging groceries and I'm going, oh man, this brings back memories. He goes, what are you talking? And he goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, dude, I did your job 30 years ago. And he goes, no. And I was like, okay, you see that over there? That used to be over there. That department used to be there. And he's going, and so like I'm just joking around with him. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm that old.
Well, you're old when nowadays is check out yourself. And you gotta bag your own stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Where's what happened here? There's like maybe one register open with someone working on it. And then you got all these, check yourself out, places. I'm like, what is this? I don't mind technology, but I prefer, being able to do all the hard work of, getting all my groceries, making the line, and then having, to put everything there and then have someone, beep it and put it into the bag and put it into my cart.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore. They're like, oh, no, you're on your own.
No.
Buddy. You're on your own. So
it's like it wasn't like back in the day, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No. And it's like I was telling you earlier before we got on air. I love the Peyton Manning behind you. I need to get one of Danny Marino.
Yeah.
I bet you half or more of the people that are watching your show right now are like, who the hell's Danny Marino? Because Peyton Manning retired in the 2000s. I think
he did.
Marino did too, didn't he? I think like 2000.
Oh,
something like that.
I think Marino retired. I want to say in the 90s.
Was it the 90s? Yeah, you know what? I think you're right because that's around the time Jimmy Johnson had taken over as our coach. Yeah, that's embarrassing too. Because it's like the 90s. A lot of your watchers were born in the 90s. You know? So
exactly.
Yeah. So we've known each other since paranormal clergy. The paranormal clergy still going on, and we're Bishop Long gave the paranormal clergy over to me. I'd say 4 years back.
Okay.
And he said, "Look, man, take over. I gotta concentrate on the ministry side of things.
Right.
You know the paranormal. You know the clergy part.
Right.
Take over." So he gave it over to me, and I've been handling that ever since. And
okay,
we're still working together. You know, it's been 13 years that we've been working together and knowing each other.
Right. Yeah, I was getting ready to say, man, that was, oh crap. I mean, it was, yeah, that was.
We're still going down that path, huh? How old we are?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Man, I was probably.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, remember, it's like, like I didn't get gray hair yet, so.
Oh, look at this. When you first met me, this was still black. And actually, just a few days ago, I shaved my mustache off because it's too damn hot here in Miami.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, man, this needs to come off. I need the sweat not to get caught in the stash. And so that way I could just, because it's hot. It is hot out there, man.
It got above the 90s today, so.
Oh man, it's been like in the okay. They say, I love it when they say it's 96 today, but feels like, I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
What does it feels like? 200. I'm like, yay! All right,
yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Well, see, it's like here in Indiana, we got the humidity, so
we do too. Hello,
yeah,
subtropic weather here down in Miami, so
right,
we got it.
Yeah, we got that nice Indiana humidity, and it's. God, it can get horrible once in a while, but actually, it hadn't been too bad lately, though. I mean, so
does it cool down there at night, though?
About 20 degrees, yeah.
That doesn't exist here. It stays in the 90s over here. I'm like, so we welcome rain at night. It cools everything down. Sometimes it goes down to the 70s, but that's far and few.
Right. Exactly. So I mean.
So I'm on the Skeptics show, and I myself have to be skeptical too. You do understand that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. You know how many people are always saying, "I'm possessed," and I'm like, okay, if you're possessed, you wouldn't know you're possessed. So red flag. So I got to be skeptical even with that.
Well, I mean, that is one thing I think that, like when me and Shanna, when we kind of did the clergy cases, and I mean, it was, to me, I thought it was an awesome dynamic because it's almost like, sometimes when you look at something skeptical and you try to find the natural explanations, you can find the red flags. I mean, it's easy to point stuff out. It's like, whoa, hang on. It's like, come on. I mean, and I've never once ever called anybody a liar or dismissed anybody because I disagreed with it, because I mean, I've always been open-minded on every case I've ever done. But there's just a ton out there that, you just go through a certain protocol, and it's like, you just like, well, this is what I think is going on,
Well, that's one thing that Bishop Long, myself, and Kat Lang,
she's a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, and we had a sit down discussion. We had to say, look, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be coming to us saying that demon this, demon that, and especially nowadays on so many shows and so many clients that come screaming demon, and I'm like, look, we have to be that front line. We have to be the voice of reason amidst all the chaos, because naturally speaking, you have to think along the lines of psychologically, you bring to life what you fear the most.
Yes, exactly.
You hear a noise, you're not going to think, oh, it's Freddy, oh, it's Michael Myers. No, you're going to be thinking it's a demon, right? Okay, so that's the issue nowadays, that people they don't understand, and this is a natural thing. Everybody has it. What you fear the most is what's going to come to the forefront from your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, and oftentimes it's that, hopefully, and we can actually, lay a lot of things to rest, or
right.
it's mental illness, and that's a good thing that we have
Mm-hmm.
a
Yes.
therapist, psychologist on the paranormal clergy that actually
Okay.
does take care of that.
That's
So,
awesome.
Leslie Cody, she's I think she was on around the time you guys were on too.
I think I remember the name, but
Yeah.
I just don't remember who
Man,
she is.
I'm trying to remember the name of the team she was a part of, but I think the lady that ran it is now running Silcon.
Okay.
And she just stayed on, and little did we know she was a psychotherapist. And I was like, that comes in handy in this line of work.
Uh-huh.
So
I will agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was a long time ago, but I even dealt with a case that a woman was schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
And she, 100% believed she saw ghosts everywhere in her house, and she could actually sit and describe all of it. Then her son actually took me aside, and he goes, "Sir," there is times she don't take her medication. So I had to pull. So when I'm in a discussion with him, I said, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually just go ahead. I'll finish the night, and I'm going to just do like I'm really going to do an investigation, but just let her mind be at ease."
Right.
And she was just bingo. Yes, because I'm glad you just brought that up, because I can't even begin to tell you that. And again, most of all the cases we do, you look at it very skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go out and you do your investigation like you normally do. You don't do anything special. You don't do anything. Because as well, because you knew us very well, that, we just did everything by protocol, no psychics, no this, no that. And then all of a sudden, then the next day, they'll call and go, "Oh, thank you so much for coming out. Everything feels so much better now." And you're going, okay. You don't know what to say. You're kind of like,
That's sometimes all they need is someone to actually sit there. And I've often said this: we're more therapists nowadays than we are investigators or researchers. People just want to be heard.
Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%. I really will. And I've even said that before. Where, because even a lot of cases I've done, you kind of get it. Not really a bond, but you really get to know the people. You really get to know the people that you're working with and you're working for. And, and I tell everybody all the time, and sometimes, you got to take these things seriously. You can't take it as a joke, so, because you're going in somebody's home, you're dealing with somebody's fears, so, and that's the one thing I always loved about us. It's like, just the fact, and that's why I've always had a ton of respect for you, because I could always be honest with you about everything that we did, so it's kind of like you can sit back and just say, well, and I've always been honest with everybody. If I thought something wasn't haunted, or if I never thought there was a ghost, then I'll tell them, and I had no problem telling the truth. I got no problem saying it, because it's like
the way the paranormal clergy works is you guys, and you guys become our eyes and ears.
Yes.
A case comes up, we would post it up. You guys, if it came down to you guys, you'd take it, you'd go, you'd investigate.
Right.
I'm in Miami, Bishop's in Louisville, and I believe at that time Kat was in
Ohio. Okay.
She moved
That's right.
to Ohio.
Yes, that's right. Correct.
It's like we're scattered across the nation here. One all the way down south, one still in the mid-south,
right.
And the other one all the way west. But what we're looking at here is network. and this is how it works. This is how you help people, is you network, and those people are the ones that become your eyes and ears. You report back to us. We decide whether there's something potentially demonic or not, and then if we could get clergy out there, we would get clergy out there, or find someone in your area that could.
Yeah, right. And I mean, even like with me though, it's like, people would come to me and talk about something demonic or whatever, and I mean, it's like I've said, I had no problem being honest with people. It's like, and I'd tell them I'm not that guy. Then I would bring them to you and say, well, contact Rich Valdes. I said, this is his, this is what he, this is his profession. This is what he does. And, but we're on the different side of the spectrum. We're there to investigate the claims. So if you do have any questions, this is who you go to. So that's the one thing I always loved about it.
Yeah. I wish you guys would get back together again. It's like, bring get the band back together again and join us.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'd have no problem with it.
I mean, people are always talking about para-unity, this, para-unity, that, but you know how I feel about it. I don't think it's really possible, but it's something to strive towards.
Yeah.
But the best way to actually have para-unity is by learning to work together with other people. Everyone is quirky. They have their own quirky way of doing things. But, it's healthy to have skepticism. Like you've been labeled the skeptic. I got to be a skeptic as well, not only on the demonology side of things, but also the paranormal side of things. I've coined a phrase. I'm the Swiss Army of the paranormal. Swiss Army knife of the paranormal. I can be a paranormal researcher, investigator, and I'm also trained as a demonologist by 3 different churches. So it's not like I read a book and said, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Right.
No, it took 9.5 years of formal training through 3 different churches, and having 2 of them actually recognize me in order to actually earn this title. And then over the span of 36 years of being a demonologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's
a long time. we're back on the time thing.
Here we go again.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
Here I thought we were done with that. All right.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh man.
So what churches were they?
The first church was with Frank Marzullo. I literally started at 18. He had approached me.
Okay.
When I was still 17 years old, I was about to turn 18. He said, look, I've always noticed you have an inclination to this understanding of angels and demons and whatnot.
Right.
And I think you should be trained in, demonology. And I was like, the hell's demonology? I'd never heard of the term.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And he started explaining it to me, and he said, look, this is a calling. I want you to pray about this and get back to me. It took about a week or so, and I got back to him, and I said, yeah, all right, well, I'll see you in I think it was 3 more months before I turned 18. Yeah, something like that. And we'll start. That's when I witnessed the first, actual exorcism, but, through a 2-way mirror. Thank God. And even that freaked me out. And I was there actually to do my studies, but I had no idea that they had already planned to have someone come in so they could do not an exorcism, I should say a liberation, because that it's kind of hard to explain. There's a huge difference. A lot of people don't understand this. Exorcisms are reserved for the Catholic Church. Deliverances are reserved for everyone else.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, the rite of exorcism was written up for the Catholic Church.
Gotcha.
When two and a half years of my training with Pastor Frank Marzullo, he passed away. I went for a long time, didn't have any mentor, found a church, brought in what I had already been trained under, and Pastor Leo actually started training me. So this is non-denominational Christian religious demonology that I'm trained on both, with Pastor Marzullo and Leo. And I was there with them for I want to say 15, 16 years working cases for the church. And I
Okay.
was here, there in Georgia. I was in Georgia, Florida, you name it. Someone would report that they believed a family member was possessed or not. And
Right.
they'd send me in. I'm like the bishop. I'm actually the rook, not the rook. Hold on. The pawn.
Okay.
I'm the pawn that goes across first and then bam, gets hit. Okay. And they always send me in. I'd always get hit by whatever may be going on there. And
Right.
I finally got approached by Bishop Long 2010.
Okay.
And he offered me the administrative job for the paranormal clergy. I took it. I didn't really know Bishop very well at that time, but over the years I got to know him, but he had also said, Rich, I also know that you're a demonologist. I need to see your credentials. And I sent him my credentials.
Right.
And he's like, could I train you to be a demonologist, but for the United States Old Catholic Church? And mind you, I'd never been trained under that denomination of Catholicism. But
Okay.
I knew it, having to study all different religions. And I said, sure. 5 years later, and it took 5 years literally of training, added training, he finally gave me my certification, recognized under the United States Old Catholic Church, and still am to this day. So,
oh, wow.
The rest, as they say, is history.
Now, what's the difference between, like, say, non-denominational demonology and Catholicism, like under, like, the Catholic Church? What's the difference between the two?
There's a huge difference. A religious demonologist in a non-denominational Christian faith, meaning we're not Baptist, Protestant, anything like that. We just believe in the Christian faith.
Okay.
Being a demonologist for them, you're sent out pretty much to do the same thing I do now, and investigate the claims, interview the individual that's believed to either have infestation, oppression, possession going on.
Right.
There's tests which I can't go into, but there's testings that I have to do in order to make sure that there is something demonic with the individual.
Right.
In case of emergency, there's that glass box that says, in case of emergency, break.
Right.
I am allowed to actually use certain prayers
Okay.
to actually help in liberation.
Okay.
Or deliverance, I should say.
Right.
The liberation, deliverance, same thing. And
Yeah.
so I'd be in a way taking my responsibility as a demonologist, putting it aside for that moment in time, and becoming kind of like what the churches refer to as exorcists, but I'm not using the solemn or minor rite of exorcism. I'm using prayers instead.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's the difference. When it comes to the Catholic Church, in order for me to actually do the minor or solemn rite of exorcism, I have to go through demonology, which I already did. Demonology, deacon, priest, then study to be an exorcist as a priest. And that takes at least, I'm being honest here when I say 8 years maybe. And
oh, wow.
53, I just don't feel like going back to school. Sorry.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you.
So when I'm doing a case for the United States Old Catholic Church, I go in, I test, I write up my report, turn it into Bishop James Long, and then he decides whether it warrants clergy coming out or not. I can always put my recommendation on the report and go from there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing, like, even like I didn't know, so, because I personally did not know that there was like demonology within anything non-denominational. I just didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, there are those, evangelical churches that really don't have, everyone's a demonologist in an evangelical church.
Right.
They'll lay their hands on you and they're like, in the name of Jesus. And it's like, oh, brother, no, I don't need that shit. So it's like, I had that growing up as a kid into teenagehood. And I've often said it, I had my fill of evangelical. I went to private Christian schools my whole life.
Right.
Then I had Bible study once a week. I had prayer meetings once a week. I had youth group Friday, Saturday, and church twice on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
That's enough. And plus, you go to a Christian school.
Yeah, no
I can
shit.
even start with the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. Okay,
right.
I know all the Old and New Testament books here, and it's like, after a while, I needed a break. I think what the best thing that ever happened to me was when I had my first paranormal experience at 15.
Oh, wow.
That's when I turned the page and went, instead of going this way, I went, whoop. And I'm happy I went that way because now I'm actually well-versed in both areas, but I'm still always learning. There's no such thing as an expert.
I mean, I know I label myself as a skeptic, and a lot of people get that word and take it out of context. A lot. Which, I mean, is fine. I mean, it ain't no big deal because a lot of people get skeptic and cynic completely completely mixed up.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people, like, no, just because I'm a skeptic, it doesn't mean, like, for example, like we would do a clergy case, and it doesn't mean I'm going to walk in and tell them I don't believe them or tell them they're full of shit, which, I mean, there's times I wanted to, don't get me wrong. I mean, I ain't going to sit here and lie to you. I mean, there's been times I'm like, all right, come on, let's just admit you're full of shit.
That's when you got to walk in and pretty much kind of like go, okay, and then when you walk out and you're done with the case, voice your opinion to the rest of the team, but at the same time show some empathy towards that person.
Yeah, right.
They don't really believe what's going on, and it's really not anything out of the ordinary.
Right. I mean, because, you know as well as I do, like you just said earlier, it's like, because there's so many people that, and I mean, I'm not saying people did it on purpose, because, a lot of people don't. Because a lot of people, I don't think puts a lot of thought into certain things. And, like, people could just be having bad days or whatever, where, like, shit happens.
Yeah. And
they just want to say, well, I have a demon. It's like, well, that's just how it is. Like, I just know there's a demon here. I mean, my lamp busted 3 times already. And, the cat won't stop puking on the carpet. And you're kind of like, well, and sometimes, like I said earlier, there's never been a time I was ever an asshole. Or, like I said, but it's just kind of like you just go, well, did you take a cat to the vet? Did you call an electrician? And that pisses people off, though. When you try to ask them something and...
Yeah, but who's it pissing off? Is it pissing the client off or people in general? Bud, come on, everybody, come on. I'll never forget. I gotta throw it out there. This was a regular paranormal case, but the lady was insisting that she had demons trying to get into her house. I'm gonna start from the beginning, okay? So her and her husband had their car broken into. So naturally, something like this happens. She tells her husband, we should get, security cameras, just to be, looking outside. So if we see anything, or get those spotlights that turn on when they're the motion sensor spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, sure. Let's do that. Well, not knowing the technology and how it works.
Yes.
And you, Bud, should know that security cameras have a 1.5 second delay when it comes to recording. Plus, this was, it had IR. So here we are in Miami, Bug Central Station. Right?
That's the first thing that just went in my head right before you said it. I was like, yeah, okay, this is going to get good.
Yeah. Oh, no, it gets better. It gets so much better. So we have, like, this lady calling in hysterics. You got to come over here. there's demons trying to get into my house. I'm like, what? What activity have you been having in your house? Is there anything going on? This and that. And she's like, no, they're just outside trying to get in. I'm like, what did I say at the beginning? What you fear the most,
yes,
will come to the forefront. So I'm like, I get there with my team, and I'm like, all right, show me the footage. So the footage, imagine it starts off with just a square, just like this, right? And there's like a bug like this on there. I'm not kidding.
Awesome.
See the eyes, it's like this. I'm like, you do see the, but never mind. We're gonna start the footage anyways. Okay, all right, go ahead. Starts the footage, and the bug goes.
Awesome.
Okay, so as you see this, right?
Yeah.
Now, people seeing the screen. I'm using this as an example.
Right.
I'm going really slow, but does it look like I'm going really super fast, like I'm the Flash right now?
No.
Okay, how about this?
A little, yeah.
Okay, so on a 1.5 second delay, security cam with IR, it looks like zippity lines going all over the damn
yes.
place. And those were the demons. And I'm like, wait, rewind it. And then we're back to, okay? You saw that, and you saw it fly off. Those are your demons. No. I'm like, yeah. And then every other clip that the husband was showing me was the same crap. And I'm like, all right, this is where I had to pull a bud. I'm like, okay, I understand that you think that this is demonic, but you do understand that IR, and I started going through all the technical stuff. I'm not going to do it on here on the air. It'd take forever. And I explained it to her and her husband. It didn't convince them.
No, it don't. Sometimes it doesn't.
2 hours later, they're like, well, thanks for your trying to help us, but you just don't understand what we're going through. I'm like,
then they act like you wasted their time. You know,
I know. I'm like, no, actually, you wasted my time. I could have been home watching a ball game. All right,
bingo.
I'm here in your house for 2.5 to 3 hours, and you're here telling me you're full of shit. No, I don't think so. And it's like, that would piss me off. What disappointed me, the wife had grown up in this house. With her parents. Her parents passed away. She inherited this house. So her and her husband took over, and so on. They put it up for sale.
I can't tell you how many times, not every case, but I mean, I've had quite a few that I would tell them, I'm like, I did my investigation the best I possibly could. And I go, and I'm going to give you my opinion. I don't think it's haunted. There's nothing tells me that you have a ghost, or I don't see any kind of evidence to back the claims. And I'm not joking. I mean, it might have happened probably maybe 3 or 4 times on me, but it would be like, well, we're moving. And I'm like going, like, you don't. And I mean, you can't say nothing. Like, you can't tell them, well, I don't think you need to move. But because you're kind of like, because you're kind of in between a rock and a hard place. Because you're like, because you can't tell them what to do.
But, Bud, this lady had no mortgage payments. She inherited this house mortgage free.
Oh.
She sold the house. And I'm like, you're moving because of bugs? And that's when I'll admit, I got a little rude, and I was like, ma'am, you're really gonna regret this. You're gonna move out of your childhood home, your marriage home, your kids grown up, moved away home.
Over something you saw on the camera. Yeah.
And I explained to you, look, do me a favor, when you move to your other house, take the same security camera with you and watch what happens. Then you'll be like, I should have listened to Rich.
Yeah.
They didn't.
It's almost like, have you ever watched, which I don't watch a lot of TV anymore because, I'm constantly busy and I'm on a weird shift. But do you ever watch Bar Rescue?
I've seen it a few times, yeah.
Yeah. I watched an episode where a guy's bar was failing because he wouldn't show up. And a lot of his employees would not show up for work because he thought it was haunted. So the guy that runs the show, last name's Tanner or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, I've only watched a few episodes here and there. And I mean, and the guy screams at everybody. I mean, it's a TV show. So, I mean, there's got to be some sort of entertainment value.
So it's like Hell's Kitchen, I guess.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So he's screaming at the guy going, "You're telling me your bar's failing because you're afraid of a little ghost." And he goes, "So what's this ghost going to do?" And I mean, this guy's like screaming mad. And like, he's like, "Yeah, but man, like cups are flying everywhere and blah, blah, blah." So he did, which I would love to do. I'd love to find the video on YouTube and actually explain to people and put it on here. Explain to people what he did psychologically. Called in a psychic and the psychic was like, "Well, blah, 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 and everything's safe. I believe it's gone," and blah, blah, blah. So now the guy's fine.
Right.
Now the bar's running good. Now everything is. So I'm like, he just psychologically put this guy in his place and he didn't know it.
Yeah. Placebo effect.
Yes, correct. Yeah. And that's what we were talking about earlier. And it's like, I watched that episode and I'm like, holy shit. So, I mean, yeah. So I mean, if I sold a house over stuff on a camera, I had no mortgage payments, I'd be the laughing stock of the neighborhood.
I'd be finding your ass in Indianapolis going, "What the hell are you doing?" For real, man. Jeez. I still don't get it. But it happens all the time. And people,
and that's what,
but I'll just say this. I would rather let's say, just for argument's sake, I was the one thinking I'm demonically possessed.
Right.
And I had to go through the protocols of the United States Old Catholic Church or the paranormal clergy.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, okay? And get a psych eval done. And they told me, "Rich, I'm noticing there are certain signs, red flags, we call them red flags, that you may have mental illness. Right. And this could easily be corrected by taking medication and going through therapy." And then I go, no, I'm possessed. Wait a minute, whoa. You know this sign.
Yeah.
All right. You mean to tell me you would rather be possessed than to have a medication you could take to correct the mental illness and therapy? I'd rather know I could pop a pill, go talk to a person about whatever the hell I want to talk about, than have to be dealing with a foreign entity that's inside my body. And there's no church that can guarantee that they'll get it out with a wave of a magic wand. It may take weeks, months, years.
Yeah.
I'd rather know that I could actually be from, actually here and get myself back up here to where I'm running a semi-normal life by taking medication and going to therapy. So call me crazy all you want. I'd rather be crazy than to have something inside of you controlling your thoughts, your actions, and everything.
If I'm thinking, oh shit, I think I should tag Shanna in this
She's in Florida. I
haven't talked to her in a while.
I screamed at her. Well, not really screamed at her, but I screamed at her via chat.
I know what you're saying.
You're in my hometown, and you don't even tell me. I have to go online and see that you're in Florida. I'm like, you're in my backyard.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet her, but it's like, well, I'm leaving Sunday. I'm like, why? Why do you have to leave Sunday?
Right.
So I'm gonna try. I just got my car back from the mechanic. Don't even go there. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
She's a good 4 hours away. I'm going to see if I can make it. I'm going to see if I can make it morning and then get there in the afternoon. She's hanging out with a few people that she knows of that are in the paranormal field that she's friends with. I'll tell you. And then I got to come back because I got a birthday party to go to at night. for my co-host.
That's pretty big of her going to Florida too, though, because she would not go anywhere at one time.
Really?
Yeah, she never traveled.
She said this is the first time we're flying.
I will. No bullshit. I believe it. I will.
But what about the broomstick?
Yeah, there you go.
She knows I'm joking. If she's watching,
I know.
Screw you, Rich. I'm like, come on. I'm just fucking
no
around.
Bullshit. If you told me right now this was the first time she flown on an airplane, I would sit here and go, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you're making that up. I don't think you can. No, I mean, yeah, I totally believe that 100%.
I agree.
Yeah. But no, I should. Okay. We did a clergy case, and I want to say, God, it was probably a 2-hour drive, if I'm thinking correctly. And it was a little old. Yeah, I know. And it was a little old lady, and I can't remember her name, and I just wonder if Shannon remembers. But there was a ton of red flags in the questionnaire, and I mean, it's just kind of. So again, like I said earlier, we had to kind of play it off here and there. So Shanna she come up with this idea, and still to this and we had it on camera because there were some things that we videotaped, like certain, like her talking about certain things, and so we stop at a gas station before we got to her house, and we purchased it was like a keychain that it was a cross. Okay, so we get to her house, and throughout we kind of knew what was going on already, and that the lady was just making a ton of stuff up. She was saying her little Pomeranian was possessed by a demon, and it was a little
all
jumpy.
Pomeranians are possessed by demons.
Yeah, they're little assholes. Yeah, and bingo, and so through, and I'm holding a camera. And Shanna goes, oh, by the way, we wanted to give this to you. You know, it was like, because we wanted to basically say if this lady was full of shit or not, and we had to prove it.
Yeah. And
Shanna goes, this was blessed, and we want you to have it. You know, and like I said, we just got it at a gas station. You know, then all of a sudden, like within 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and the lady was going, oh, you got to take this away. I'm getting sick. And we're like, oh, she fell for it. Like she fell for she went for the Jedi mind trick, you know? So yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's what I tell people all the time. It's like, you know, when people say, I want to get into this, I'm like, be careful what you wish for. And, you know, and don't do it for entertainment value.
No.
You know, because, I mean, we're in a day and age now where people's doing that, you know, so it's kind of, and I mean, and it's like, I've said it 1,000 times. I haven't done an investigation in years, and I got out of it, but I don't regret it because, I mean, like even working for the clergy and, you know, working with you and, you know, doing our thing in Indiana, it's like, I don't regret none of it because, I mean, I've had amazing experiences with it, you know, so, you know, walking away from it, I don't regret that either, you know, but I tell people all the time when they ask me about it, I'm like, just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I said, because people's going to, you'll do a case or whatever, and if you don't believe them, or if you don't buy into what they're saying, because you know this as well as I do. People want a demon. People want a ghost.
Yeah.
They want that. They want it. You know, they've been watching the TV shows all the time, and I blame a lot of stuff on the TV shows. Or some. I don't mean all of them. I don't mean that.
Educational, but very far and few between. And I feel that that's the difference between the show I was on.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's what I'm kind of getting ready to get into.
Oh, I'm sorry, I ruined it for you.
No. Damn it.
Bad, Rich. Bad. I didn't know.
Damn it.
You didn't send me the script. What the hell?
Oh, shit. The show's ruined.
Oh, here's the script. Sorry, right. I was wrong. There it is.
Yeah.
Going to lead into...
Right.
Okay. Sorry, bud.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
You saw nothing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know as well. And I'm not going to name names, and I'm not going to name the shows, and I'm not because when I started this podcast, I actually promised myself this ain't going to go down a negative road. You know, this is entertain. You know, I want to interview people like, even though I'm a skeptic, but I want to learn. I love learning from other people and talking to other people. I love having conversations. But the one thing that kind of, I say it and I've said it for years, you know, when you watch those TV shows, not all of them, a certain few, it's entertainment value. And like I said, I'm not going to name names, but you probably already know who I'm going to be talking about. So, but when somebody gets possessed on a TV show on every damn episode, you know, and screams like they're on fire, yeah, you kind of, and I tell people, it's like, come on, really? You're really buying into that? You're really buying into that bullshit?
It's very, you know this, it's very rare for a person to get possessed. I can't speak badly of any of the shows because I'm
right.
on contract. So
yes,
what I will say, the reason I even agreed to do the show that I ended up on, Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists, was because it was going to be done through the lens of theologians, which I happen to be Bishop James Long, Reverend Sean Whittington, Rita Strugala, Donnie, and Scott.
Okay.
We all, the way we're not, I'm a paranormal investigator. You know that. Bishop, to an extent, has been a paranormal investigator too. The other four had never been involved in the paranormal, ever.
Oh, okay.
So we've been involved in both, Bishop and I,
right,
theology and also the paranormal. But the other four, they don't know an EMF detector from, you know, an EKG.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It is what it is. An EKG is like something for the heart, and they're like, well, if we're going by this, that means that there is something there. And they don't know.
right.
But that was the approach that Travel Channel wanted to take this time around.
Gotcha.
And the reason they had to do the recreations was because it had already happened.
Okay.
And we were basically in a round table setting telling our stories.
Okay.
Of course, you know, leave it to Reverend Sean Whittington, who had been involved with this project for 3 years. He had the most stories to tell and the ones that were filmed the most. I came in a month and 2 weeks before they started, you know, filming. So they were
okay. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
They were only able to take one of my stories down. I got a plethora of them, but
I was going to say, I remember you telling me about that.
And unfortunately, that's it. But you know what? They left mine for last, and everyone was like, I thought it was funny because I'd be like getting emails, and they're like, "When's your story coming up?" Because I was just that guy sitting there like this.
Right.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And they're like, does he speak? And occasionally, I'd say something, but I wasn't like, you know, telling my story.
Right.
And I finally spoke. And I guess it's been split. The paranormal community, although people have to remember this was presented on Travel Channel, which is 99.9% paranormal, and they didn't know what to make of it.
Okay.
They were like, who are these guys sitting around a table talking about what they went through? they're fakes, and Bishop is not a fake. I'm not a fake.
Right.
But people that don't know us don't know our credentials, and
right.
they were thrown. I mean, dude, I got a lot of hate mail.
Oh, I bet.
A lot.
Oh, I can imagine.
Mail. And I'm like, I'm not your enemy. I was pulling a Rodney King. Why can't we all just get along? What the hell?
Oh, shit.
And they're like, you just called witches bad. And I'm like, I didn't say that. It was someone else that I just met and recorded. It's not my fault. Actually, I date a witch. Go figure. So, it is what it is. The way I see it, people have their right to believe what they want to. But I've always said, before you go and voice your opinion, get your facts straight.
Yes. Bingo. Exactly.
Or don't open your mouth at all, because the thing is whoa. Do you know who I am?
Right.
And they're like, you're Rich Valdes with a Z at the end. I'm like, no.
Nope.
Rich Valdes with an S at the end.
Yes.
So you see right there, I just caught you right there. And then let's go a little bit further, because I've been investigating the paranormal now for 38 years.
Right, yeah.
I've been in demonology for 35. 9.5 years of training, formal training from churches, not from watching TV shows like Supernatural. This is the real deal. But people seem to think that any Johnny or Jane come lately can just come on there and dress up and say, I'm a priest, I'm a bishop, I'm a demonologist. Although
I've seen that before.
A Chinese waiter before with that blue shirt that I was wearing on the show.
Yeah.
Ready to take what would you like to eat? Your egg roll? Fried rice? You want some chicken fried rice? No.
Where do you want to sit?
You want to sit here? Sweet and sour sauce, duck sauce?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So whatever. It is what it is. I could joke about myself. I don't care.
Oh, I know.
It is what it is. But
it's all good.
They felt that a demonologist should wear a shiny blue shirt. I'm like, we don't have a uniform. You know this, bud.
Yeah,
I don't have a uniform. I can wear this shirt.
You can wear anything you want.
I'm the bad guy, and walk in there and do my job as a demonologist. It is what it is.
Exactly.
But,
Now, okay, I'm glad you just brought that up a minute ago, because I've witnessed there is people out there, and I mean, I'm not saying, like, I kind of like want your opinion on the fact that as well as I do, there's people, and I'm going to like kind of go in different directions here.
Yeah.
There's people out there that says they're a demonologist. They're a priest, or they're in the clergy or whatever, and they're not. Then you got people on YouTube now. Because as well as I do, we're in a day and age. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, and everybody's YouTube video, TikTok video, demon infested. And they always got to use that word demon, for the clicks and the views.
Yeah.
For the popularity, they got to make that money on YouTube. They got to have so many followers on TikTok, but they got to always use that word. Now, what's your opinion on that? Like, I mean, what would you say to people like that? Like saying, like, come on, guys. I mean, because I've known you a long time, and I've always had the utmost respect for you.
Thank you.
And for what you do. And I mean, even though me and you are on different sides of the spectrum, but I've always had a ton of respect for you, of what you do and who you are. And, you've always been the most, I mean, you never bullshitted me, and I've never bullshitted you. And that's what I always loved. So back to kind of what I was saying, for these people like the ghost hunting, these ghost hunt, I mean, they're not even real paranormal investigators. And I'm not the type of person to call anybody out. I just not, you do you. And if someone calls you out, that's your problem. But I mean, what's your opinion on that? I mean, like, kind of like why do they got to do, like, for the clicks and the views and stuff like that? I mean, because to me, it kind of puts a bad.
That's why they have to. If they want the clicks and views, they have no choice but to do it that way.
Right.
But that's the only reason they're doing it, is for the attention, social media, to get the status and get all those followers and everything. Me, I'd rather be, in the low numbers and know that what I'm putting out there is the real deal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put demon.
Right.
It's like, sale.
Yeah, bingo.
It's not, it doesn't work for me. I've been on a show. I've been on 2 shows. I've been on a haunting for my team, and then also for the Legion of Exorcists for 6 episodes. Great. I've been mentioned in 2 books. Great.
Mm-hmm.
I have a magazine article coming out, actually, I believe the 15th of August. First time that I've been mentioned or in a magazine.
Right.
Great. I've been in a magazine before, for my photography. But other than that, I mean, those are just accomplishments. But
yeah,
these people, I call them self-proclaimed demonologists.
Right.
And there's plenty out there that claim to be something they're not. And those are the ones that give the real ones, like myself or Bishop Long or the rest of the crew that was the cast that I was working with, a bad name.
Yeah.
And then when they pull the shenanigans that they do on TikTok, on YouTube, or wherever, and people are like, "Oh my God, did you just see what they just did?" And and then they look at us, and we're not doing the same thing,
right?
And they say, "Oh, then you're fake. They're the real deal." That is the harm they cause, when they do that. And that in itself is the issue we've been dealing with. It's an uphill battle.
It is,
but it's been like this. But it's been like this for years.
It's been like that for a long time. Yeah,
it's just gotten worse now because there's so many out there now that hi, how you doing? It's like finding, what was the name of that finding? You always have to find that guy with the red and white striped shirt.
Waldo.
Yeah. We feel like Waldo. Find Waldo. And it's like in a crowd of so many that are claiming to be Waldo, and it's not Waldo. Yeah. And that's how we feel.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've never called nobody out, and I've never once ever bashed anybody. Because that's just not me. Because I've always felt like, I've always stayed in my own lane. And I still do that to this very day. And I've always felt that way. And and I kind of, some days I feel like, it's like, I don't need to be that person. I thought, I've always, like I said, I'm not bragging or nothing, but when I talked about that schizophrenic case, she was the sweetest lady in the world. Just the big sweetheart.
Right.
And somebody was contacting her, and I think I remember who it was. And these guys were just total, again, I call them attention whores or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were trying to tell her that her house was demonic. And they were like, well, you need us to come out. You need us. And then she contacted me and she goes, what do you think? And I said, ignore everything they say and don't talk to them again. And she says, she goes, I just always trusted you. She goes, you've always been genuine with me. I said, that's just who I am. I go, it has nothing to do with the paranormal. I go, that's just who I am.
And that's what's missing. That's what's missing nowadays is people like you that are out there. That's why you need to get back into this somehow, some way. I know you're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
But there need to be more people like you and me out there that'll call it the way it is.
I agree.
They're not going to want to hear what you're telling them, but I'd rather they know the truth and have my conscience clear, knowing, just like you, that I just did not lead you down a rabbit hole that you can't find your way out of.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it.
It's like I said. I knew the mental illness she had. I already knew what I was going into, and it broke my heart. To be honest with you, it really got to me on a personal level because I never dealt with it before.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to help her, because it's almost like, and it's like I told her son, and I go, she needs to see her doctor. She needs to do this. I go, and I told her son, I said, I can't help her. I said, I can only do what I can do. I was like, I'm not going to lie to her. I'm not going to send her down a road that she doesn't need to go down. I said, because that's going to make her worse.
Yeah.
I said, that's going to make this situation a ton worse. I said, but you need to help me. I said, you need
help you, as the old saying goes.
Bingo. I said, just make sure, she gets to the doctor and make sure she's taking her meds. I said, because this situation will not get better. So that's what I was saying when these people were contacting her. And like I said, I can't remember who it was. I mean, they were just douchebags.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. I mean, because
it was douchebag paranormal. Let's just call it that. All right? And there's a million of those douchebag paranormal teams out there that just I call them scavengers.
They are.
They are what they are. They feed off of these people's fears, their insecurities, their lack of knowledge of what's really going on. We all have those stories, bud. I have the ice maker lady.
Yeah.
She had gotten a new refrigerator with an ice maker, right? I drive 3.5 hours, and I walk in not even 5 minutes in, and she's like, you hear, it was ice dropping. And she's like, you hear that? That's it. That's the noise I'm talking about.
Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. Right.
So I sat there for another few minutes, and I'm kind of like getting closer and closer to the fridge. I'm like, you do know that this is your ice maker. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a demon. I'm like,
oh, wow.
I opened the door just because but I swear I timed it.
Oh,
and I was like,
I believe it.
I opened the door and I waited and I said, now listen and watch. And it dropped the ice. And she's like, oh, it's been the ice maker this whole time? I'm like, yeah.
Now, everybody, whoever's listening to this, do you know who the Bob and Tom Show is?
Sounds familiar.
They're syndicated throughout the whole country.
Okay.
Well, it's a morning radio show here in Indiana, but they're syndicated throughout the country. And this is actually funny as shit because it just reminded me of that. It kind of reminds me of they used to do like little shows, like whatever, and like for you to listen to, and they had a little skit called Mr. Obvious where people called in. And it's always the same guy that calls in. And it's actually, in real life, it's the producer. His name's Dean Metcalf.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, Mr. Obvious, and I think I got an animal stuck in my dishwasher. And he goes, really, caller? So what's this sound like? He goes, well, every time I turn it on, you hear it go, rah, 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 rah. Yeah, it's still one of my dad's favorite bits. So that's what it kind of reminds me of,
It's the same. I hate to say it, but people oftentimes, there's always a scientific explanation as well.
Yeah,
I had
right.
This lady, that one was just 2.5 hour drive, but it wasn't too bad. She was complaining about headaches, and her boyfriend, which wasn't there, could not stay the night because he would get viciously nauseous.
Oh, okay.
All right. So she said that she would see this shadow figure off on the side of the bed. So her bed was like up against the wall, and in other words, she would have to slip in the bed. She wouldn't be able to get out on her side. She'd have to get out either through the foot of the bed or his side.
Okay.
He didn't sleep there. After a week of him throwing up and migraines, he left. But they still saw each other. It's just that she'd go over to his place.
Oh, okay.
And she was complaining about headaches and seeing the shadow figure. And I'm like, all right. So I'm looking around. We're doing EVPs. We captured nothing. I did the EMF sweep. Those of you that don't know EMF, electromagnetic field, EMF detector. And every time I'd get over to her bed,
that can be very important.
Bury the needle. Now, I refuse to use the K2 meter.
Right. Because there's too many false positives with it.
Way too many. I was using a cell sensor. So the cell sensor would bury the needle. I'm like, the hell? I'm like literally going around. I see nothing. I look down, and it's a little old, alarm clock.
Okay.
Attached to the wall. It's electric, and I'd get close to it, and it'd bury the needle constantly. I'm like, so I unplugged it. I asked her, can I unplug this? And she's like, yeah. Unplugged it. I put it across the room and plugged it back in, set the time. And I said, set your timer, for, waking up. And great. I went back to the same area. Nothing. Not even a beep. Nothing. I said, look, I know we've only been here like an hour and a half, but I felt like a doctor telling her this. Go to sleep. Call me in the morning and tell me how you feel. And she's like, you know what? Can I call my boyfriend over now and maybe see if this is what it is? Because I thought I had a theory that this was EMF radiation sickness. And they were both.
That happens a lot.
A lot. So he came over and she woke up and she was like, I'm going to joke about it because I started laughing on the phone. Oh, Rich, I just had to call you. I'm here making breakfast. You know why she's making breakfast, bud. Come on.
Oh, we know.
Right? Yeah, we know. All right. And sausage and eggs. All right.
Right.
Okay. And a side of toast. And, she's like, we slept. And I'm like, okay, that's great. He didn't bomb it. That's even better. I don't have a headache. Neither does he. And I was like, great. So my theory was correct. It was EMF radiation sickness. And she's like, what is that? I sent her a PDF file explaining everything.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, my God. Did you know that EMF radiation sickness can actually cause tumors? And I'm like, yeah. You may want to get that checked out, too. So that's all it took. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't anything. It was just her alarm clock.
Even like a lot of people in old farmhouses have a lot of paranormal claims.
Yeah.
Like
house settling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, old farmhouses got the old wiring and stuff, so that's why. I mean, because high EMF in a house, in case a lot of people out there don't know, like Rich just explained, can cause hallucinations, dizziness. It can, make you, sometimes it can make you feel like as if, like you feel a presence around you.
Yes.
It can give you that feeling. So that's why a lot of times in certain houses, like Rich just explained, people think their house is haunted, but not sometimes, if you do the EMF sweep, which I've always done as well, as a skeptic, as trying to find your natural explanations, and sometimes 9 times out of 10 that's what it is. Not every time, but
How about those people that live by the power lines and their kids end up one by one down the road?
We had a case,
brain cancer, and tumors.
We had a case not too far from here that we had that.
Yeah,
we had a house and it was right by a certain. Oh God, I bet it was not even 10 minutes from here, and they lived right by a power line. So I can't remember what I did, but I called somebody to see if they can get some sort of reading in the backyard. And it was just, the stuff was like everything that was coming off there into the house was insane. It was just unreal. Like it made their daughters uneasy.
Yeah.
They couldn't sleep. They couldn't, so it was like, I've dealt with that before.
It happens more often, and it's been on the news where families that live in homes that are right down the row of all these power poles with all these power lines going across.
Yep.
And every single neighborhood has someone in their family with cancer. Okay?
Yes.
And they're like, how is this possible? And then they start explaining when you're close to power lines, which give off EMF radiation, it can cause cancer. So,
yes.
If it can cause a little, alarm clock can cause you to have hallucinations, headaches, nausea, seeing things that aren't there, hearing things that aren't there, sleepless nights. Imagine power lines that are literally like up right next to your house, literally cooking you day and night, night and day, and it causes cancer. You're going to tell me that EMF can't be the answer to this? Of course it can.
Yes.
And if you want to call that, being a skeptic, no, I call that being a realist.
Bingo. Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we've had a few cases like that. I mean, that's happened, and it happens a lot.
Yeah, a lot more than people would like to admit.
Yes. 100% agree.
Like the ice maker lady.
Hold on. That even reminds me, it's like even like and I think I talked to you about this. It was a clergy case, and it was a woman. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I do, because I mean, I was like nuclear pissed off. And it was a woman down in Louisville, and she was like going on about, she was a germaphobe, never left her house, and went on.
Does sound familiar.
And she never left her house. And one morning she curled up into a ball or something in that manner. So I remember when I went through the questionnaire, I asked her something about sleep paralysis. And asked her if she went to a doctor or in that manner, or thought about going to see a medical doctor first. And she emailed me, and I mean, called me every name but a white man. And I mean, I was like livid, pissed off. Because she was like telling me I was calling her a liar. I'm a fake. I don't know what I'm talking about. She's going to bash me on social media, which I'm like, well, you're not the only female that's done that one. So, go for it, like take her best shot. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just did just like, yeah, going to bash me on social media, going to blah, blah, blah. And I remember I think Shannon I talked to you about it, and you go, well, but I was like, you went through protocol, correct? You went through your questionnaire. You did what you needed to do. And I went, yeah. I was like, even I told her, I said, if you want us to come down and do the investigation, because like I said, we can wear, the medical gloves and all that. Then she was like, oh, no, that's okay. You don't. And I'm like, you're a germaphobe. You're going to let 3 people in your house. And we can have all the germs in the world. So then I remember, I think the next day, I actually researched this same lady, and she's supposedly a paranormal investigator, and she had her own website, and all of her pictures were demonic in these
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember who I'm talking about?
I think I do, because it even pissed us off too, because we felt like she was setting things up.
Yes.
And it was oh God. I don't want to say names, but I know who you're talking about, because
I don't remember the name.
We found her website and we saw everything. I was like, this has been a setup. Like, she was trying to make everybody look bad. Anyone associated with the paranormal clergy as well. And I was like, okay. So yeah, she actually was a germaphobe, but she took it upon herself to do this. I don't know if it was for amusement or to just prove her point, or I don't know, but I was ticked off. I remember that. And she had I don't know if she was having or had an episode of sleep paralysis, but that is also clinical too. It can be clinical.
Yeah.
There are certain phenomenons where, like the old hag syndrome,
yes.
They call it, but it's actually a thing, because that's existed for thousands and thousands of years.
It has, correct.
So in order for that to be something that people always see, even before technology, before travel, you have to kind of call that under question. But there is the clinical term for it. People that don't sleep often, they're sleep deprived, their body shuts down, and it causes sleep paralysis.
Yes.
And they can't move. I've had sleep paralysis, but mine was paranormal.
Right, yeah.
So, that was different.
But it's like I said, the only thing I did was just ask a woman the question. That's all I did.
That's all you need to do. I had a story I told on another podcast. This lady had me on the phone for 2.5 hours. And I'm here talking, not even talking. I'm listening to everything she has to say. It sounds like a horror movie. Literally, this woman was like a Christian. Yeah. She'd never touched a Ouija board, never. She goes to church every Sunday, this and that. How could this happen? And I'm like, ma'am, I'm listening from everything you're saying. It sounds like there is like demonic infestation in your home. Have you at any time, and here's just a little, something I'll throw out there for people to understand. Have you had 3 knocks on your door and you've opened it and no one's there? She's like, that happens. That's been happening for over a year now, and it happens a lot. I'm like, really? Yeah, my neighbors actually told me that she sees this black shadow walking at daytime, not nighttime, daytime. Walking,
really?
Yes, off the sidewalk to the pathway to her front door, and then me opening the door, and she sees her opening the door, and then that thing goes like right in, and she was letting them in. I said, there's your problem. You're letting these things in. She's like, she literally, I haven't heard this word in a long time. Oh, that's a bunch of poppycock. I'm like,
oh God, I haven't heard that word in
forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and she hung up on me, dude. I was like, "You're kidding, right?" I've been on the phone 2 hours and a half, maybe 45, and you hung up on me because I told you that's how. I'm not questioning your Christianity, but this is how they can get in.
Right.
One of many ways. But she just thought I was full of it and pretty much hung up on me, and I never heard from her again.
But it's like, it's like me and you talked about before. It's like, and I tell people this all the time when people ask me about, because I actually did a class on this a very long time ago with Danielle Garrison, and me and her did a class on the difference between ghost hunting as a hobby and being a paranormal investigator.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, it's like, if you want to do it as a hobby, go out and have fun. Because, I'm a history nerd anyways. I love going to locations just for the history alone. Well, I do history tours at the Hannah Mansion. So it's like, I just love the haunted part of it or whatever. I never really sometimes got into that. I just, I love the history. I love seeing the location. I love seeing, photographing it, so. But I tell people all the time, if you want to do it as a hobby, that's awesome. Have fun with what you do. It doesn't matter for fishing or whatever, bowling or whatever. If something makes you happy, do what makes you happy.
Right.
And I tell people that all the time. But when it comes down to doing what me and you did, be careful what you want.
Well,
because
go on. Sorry.
Oh, I'm okay. But it's kind of. Basically what I'm getting at is like, even with you and me, it's like you're going to get people that's going to bash you.
Yeah.
You're going to get people that's going to cuss you out.
Yeah.
You're going to get people that's going to call you every name in a book. And if you ain't got thick skin, and if you ain't prepared for it, don't say I didn't warn you. And I tell people, yeah.
People say, well, I don't like that show you're on. Okay, don't watch it.
Bingo.
Why do you keep watching it then? If you hate it that much, turn it off. Watch something else. I don't care. It's the way I see it is like dude, when we were growing up as kids, there were like maybe, there was ABC, NBC, CBS, and then those local channels.
Then we had a local, yeah.
You know, when we wanted to watch cartoons, we had to wait till Saturday morning, right?
Sure did.
All right. Nowadays, there's Cartoon Network and
24/7.
24/7.
24/7.
Those days are gone. So those days were special. Nowadays, it's like it's at the click of a button. You could, if you don't want to watch this show right now or the show I've been on TV, switch the channel. It's that easy. You don't like Bud, you don't like me, you don't like the cast I was with or the show we were on, I was on with. Dude, change
no one's forcing
channel.
No one's forcing you to listen to it. No one's forcing you to do it.
I mean, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be anything other than what I am. I am a paranormal researcher. I am a paranormal investigator. I'm also a demonologist. Mm-hmm. But I happen to be a whole lot of other things.
Right.
So what? You know, whether I'm good at it or not, that's up to the person. That's perception.
Bingo.
Until that perception starts paying my bills, like you said, you got to grow rhinoceros skin. Dude, no. You can hate me all you want, but unless you're paying my bills.
Bingo.
Yeah, I could give three craps about what you think. You know, that's the way I see it.
And I'm glad you said that. I really am, because I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only one that said that, because I used to. Because I mean, there was a friend of mine which I've met him once in person, and he's a super nice guy, just super nice guy, and and pretty much does, has a team, goes to the locations, and and he really loves what he does. He has fun doing it. He's very passionate about what he's doing. And somebody bashed him on Facebook. And I just flat out tell him, like, dude, man, I've been in the paranormal community for a long time. And I was like, just let it roll off your back. Who cares what they say? It's Facebook. Who cares? I mean, who are they? I mean, it's like they're nobody important. It's just somebody with a comment. That's all it is. It's just somebody with a comment. Who cares? Big deal. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been shit that's pissed me off in the past, but like 5 minutes later at the end of the day, and I mean, like you just said a minute ago, they ain't paying their bills.
Yeah.
They don't help.
That's the important thing. People need to start realizing, look, we're in a field, at least I am. I can't speak for you right now, although you're running Paranormal Vantage Point. But here's the thing, though. I'm still in this field. I know people are going to have opinions, but the one common thread is people are always seeking out help. I get that.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right.
I offer the help. I've never charged, never will. But if you are asking for help, that means that something's concerning you. There's something going on that you don't understand. And this is the part I don't understand. You call me in because there's something weird going on and you need answers.
Mm-hmm.
I go in, I do my job, I give you my answers, my perception, and you're here telling me you're wrong. Wait a minute. I thought you called me. This when did the roles change? Because if now you're telling me that I'm wrong, I shouldn't be here. And that's around the time where you start rethinking things and saying, maybe I should start charging because, gas money, time away from family and friends. I mean, I know it's unethical, but people need to start understanding, look, if you're calling out a paranormal team or clergy in my situation,
right?
And I'm going out there and I'm taking my time to share with you what I do know, what I've been trained to do as either a demonologist or what I've learned over the years investigating.
I've turned down overtime to do it.
Yo, man, you have the nerve to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when you're the one that called me in?
Right.
Yeah, then that's when you got to learn to walk away. There's been plenty of times I've had to walk away, but it is what it is.
Right. that's like I was saying, is what I was telling people. I was like, you got to sit and understand one thing. When you're doing it for free, and I mean, like I just said a second ago, I mean, I've turned down overtime.
Yeah.
I gave up time and a half where I could go in and make damn good money. That could go on to something like buying something somebody needed.
Yeah.
And you're going to sit and tell me, like, you're going to bash me on Facebook and stuff. And when I'm the one, that drove, and I'm the one that, I got to stop somewhere and get something to eat, or, and then, you're going to sit and be that way with me. And I tell people all the time,
it is.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, be prepared for that. Because I was like, you're going to run into it. It's going to happen. Be prepared. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Find something else. Find something else to do then. And I used to tell, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, because there's a bunch of cases I've done that I've had that were just really amazing, and I mean, just traveling somewhere, and, the people that you get to meet, and the people that, and I mean, sometimes you develop good friendships with them, and I mean, I have, there's been people I've done investigations for that still once in a while talk to me and ask me how I'm doing, like, hey, I'm, how you doing? You've been, are you still doing this? Or are you still? And I'll be like, nah, I got a podcast now though. So now you get to hear me run my mouth. Touche.
And yeah. I'm pretty much in the same boat with you there. I started my podcast back up again.
I saw that
this year. Yeah, and it's been great. I got a co-host now. We run the show.
Okay.
And Vicky Burnett. And this time around, I decided, okay, I'm going to bring back Greetings from Beyond Radio. But you know what? In case I get called in again for filming, I want someone to take over.
Okay.
If I can't be there that week, or it's 2 weeks filming, I want someone that can take over. So collectively, we both are co-hosts of Greetings from Beyond Radio. She's a great co-host. Big shout out to Vicky Burnett. In fact, it's her birthday today. Tomorrow we're celebrating her birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
So, happy birthday, Vicky. And
happy birthday.
Time, the way I see it is, I always have my hand in something when it comes to the paranormal. I wanted to start up Greetings from Beyond Radio again, but I had to put that aside for a little while because I had to finish my training with Bishop Long as a demonologist for his church.
Right.
But once that was done, I found myself in so many other things that I just didn't have any time.
Yeah.
So now, we had gone, let's see, the filming for the show started in December 17th of 2021.
Oh, and okay.
It aired this year, June 1st.
Oh, so, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. It took a minute. But
oh, wow.
It's an experience that I don't regret. I was sick as a dog during filming.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was super bad. I didn't think I was going to make it. I was actually playing cards with death. And,
wow. I didn't know that part. Yeah.
Well, it was the gallbladder. My gallbladder had been failing. I had no idea, but it was I had pancreatitis.
Oh.
The pancreas was causing the gallbladder to create stones, gallbladder stones. So I had 3 stuck in the duct that goes into the kidney and into the actual pancreas, and they were blocking. So the pancreas grew bigger than it should. The gallbladder started growing and dissolving, and they had to go in, slice it, take it out. Then a month later, I had to go back in, and there was a pain I couldn't get rid of on the right side. And they said,
wow.
Mr. Valdes, you do realize, I'm like, no, because I don't have X-ray vision. That's why I'm here.
Well, yeah.
Thanks. You have a cyst. And I was like, what do you mean I have a cyst? Well, it's called necrotizing pancreatitis. Okay, explain that to me. Okay, so you have this like cyst the size of a Nerf football around your pancreas. Okay, and it has a flesh-eating bacteria, and it's left a hole this big. I should do this instead. In your pancreas, and
oh my God,
we don't put a pick in there to drain that flesh-eating bacteria into your lower intestines, you'll die. I was like, thanks. That's exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks for the info, Doc.
Yeah. So I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and 2 days, and then still recovering for 2.5 or 3 months after.
Wow.
So that was not fun.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that's literally between the time I had started filming and went back for pickup shoots for the season 1 of Legion of Exorcists.
Oh, so, wow.
People have no idea. This is a burden of love, man. I literally went through hell to actually be able to be there, but
no kidding.
It is what it is. I even landed in the hospital 2 days before the premiere, and missed the premiere. Of,
shit!
Of the show, yeah. And here's the fun part. It gets better. But
there's a fun part.
More. There's more.
Wait, there's more.
It's not really fun, but wait, there's more. When my episode was finally going to air, my dog decides I'm going to vomit 13 times. Had to take the dog the day before to the dog hospital. Yeah. Find out that he has pancreatitis too.
Holy shit!
Now,
who'd have guessed that one?
All right, now, but I know you're a skeptic.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. You've been involved in the paranormal. You've been involved in the paranormal clergy. You know how these things work.
Yeah.
What are the chances of that happening? Unless it's an attack.
I've only been to Vegas twice, so.
Yeah, but if you've been married twice in Vegas, I mean, come on.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I could say I've won the lotto. How many times have you won the lotto?
Dude, the chance of that happening is like slim to none.
Exactly.
I mean, slim to none.
I have a bullseye. I'm a walking freaking bullseye. I mean, I understand there's people out there that say demons don't exist, ghosts don't exist, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. They can think whatever they wish.
Yeah.
But when you've seen the things and experienced the things that I've experienced, and you have a bullseye on you, these things do happen.
Yeah.
I've always warned anyone that is thinking of getting into this, make sure it's a calling and not just you waking up one day and saying, you know what? I'm going to be a demonologist today.
Right.
No, you're not. Don't. Because if I remember my pastor, my first pastor that actually started training me, Frank Marzullo, Pastor Frank Marzullo told me, Rich, this is either a calling or not. Pray about it. He literally sent me home and he said, pray about it for about a week or more. And I did. And I meditated on this. I thought of it. And I did have a knack for this. And I said, yes, I will take your offer. And two to 3 months later, once I turned 18, I started my training with him. I don't regret it. Now, I did back out a few times because when you start working in theology, when you start working in the field of demonology and stuff like that, you become a target because they know that you know what they're all about, how they work. They work how they work behind the scenes. They consider you a posed threat from the beginning.
Right.
That being said, you have to take that under consideration and know that you're always going to be targeted for things. The chances of everything that's happened in the past 2 years, to me personally, and it's all revolved around the show, tells me that I'm on the right path. They're trying to take me out for a reason, because if they can't take me out, they'll take someone else out. My dog having pancreatitis just 1 month after I had to go in, this year again, but this time for acute pancreatitis, there's nothing cute about pancreatitis.
No.
It's very painful. The chances of that happening, and my dog gets pancreatitis too, and is presently in the hospital as we speak. Still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Healing Vibes sent to him, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And
I'm a huge animal lover, so.
He's 13 and a half years old, but you know what? I figured we got to make sure that this is the third time he's gone in.
Wow.
I made sure we ordered the medication because his pancreas is not giving off the right enzymes that it needs in order to break down the food. And I said, before you feed my dog, keep him on IV. And then when you feed him, give him these meds because I refuse. We're $6,000 in the hole now because of this.
Wow. I mean,
that bad.
I was going to say, because the last dog I would consider mine, I had a German Shepherd, and I had her for about 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ours
is
a Malinois.
Yeah.
It's still a German Shepherd in the German Shepherd family, and he's pretty old. But still, you know, they every time we take him in, they say his blood work is perfect, his heart is strong, and I'm like, that's great, but Odin is throwing up like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
So do something about it.
I was going to say, because I had a problem with mine for a long time, and I think I took her to a vet on the north side of Indianapolis, which everything up there is expensive. And they were wanting to like do every they wanted to do stuff to her that I was kind of like, no, like we're not going through this route. And then there was a guy I went and saw north of there, and he just looked at me and said, he goes, I'll tell you what, let's just start simple. He goes, let's just put her on a different dog food. And it was a prescription dog food, and I had to start, it was expensive as shit. But I tell you what, 3 weeks later, she did just fine.
The problem that Odin has now is the same thing. It's once you have pancreatitis, that means you have to be on a low-fat diet.
Yeah, right.
The problem is that you have to give your pancreas a chance to rest and not eat for at least 24 to 48 hours, and then start eating Jell-O and soup and all that stuff, and building yourself back up to a low-fat diet. With him, he's a spoiled brat. He'd rather have like 3 Big Macs, 2 large fries, a Diet Coke, just to make him feel not so guilty.
Right, the balance.
And, you know, you give him like this diet food, and he's like, "What the hell's that?"
Yeah. Well, what are you doing?
You want me to do what with that? And
come on, bro. Yeah, come on, bro. What are you doing?
Would you rather throw up, or I mean, you could stay alive and eat, but no, he's a very stubborn dog. He's very smart, as you know. German Shepherds are all smart.
They're highly intelligent. I mean, they're amazing dogs.
They are.
Well, my sister, which now it's almost like my family's got all beagles now, and my sister, but like my mom and dad's got one. And he's a turd. I mean, I'm not. I can't even I'm not even remotely joking when I say that. But my sister has one, and she's had him ever since he was a pup, and he's a diabetic. And they actually told her, said, you're going to have to put him down. There's no way he's going to survive. And he's almost blind, fully blind. But I mean, she gets up every morning, 5 o'clock. She gives him insulin every day, and he's alive and kicking. And I want to say he's about 3 years old by now.
You know, it's right now, he's not diabetic. It's just his pancreas is giving him. Right. Anyone can have pancreatitis.
Yes.
FYI.
Correct.
You don't have to be a diabetic. And correct. It's just a matter of getting the enzymes to work again in his pancreas, and he'll be fine.
Yes.
But the way I see it is it's going to happen one way or the other.
Right.
I know we're getting close to almost 2 hours, though. But
I lost track of time.
I know. That tends to happen, bud. You know,
you're lucky my co-host ain't on here right now, so we'd be going for 3. We'd be going for 3 or 4.
But one thing I wanted to say there is that this was an orchestrated effort to, I believe, distract me from what I needed to do.
More than likely, yeah. I'll agree with that.
It was not something that just happened by chance.
Yeah.
It was happening, but it started happening just before I signed the contract with Travel Channel, and it got worse when I got there to film. And then after I got back, about, I'd say 2 months later, landed in the hospital for 2 procedures. And
wow.
I was 1 day removed from antibiotics, traveling back to Cali in order to finish the pickup shoots. And it still continued into this year, where with the acute pancreatitis just a day before the actual premiere of the show. And then a month later, just as I'm supposed to see my episode where my story is told, my dog ends up in the hospital, and I missed that episode too. It's not by chance, dude. The chances are slim to none. I played the lotto, by the way. I should win the lotto next. So
you would think.
Yeah. I mean, after everything I've gone through, dude, I think it's the Mega Million that's up for, I think 1.2 billion now.
1 point some billion, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm going to win that sucker as far as I'm concerned.
Give it a shot. Hell, who knows?
And that's something that people need to understand. What we're dealing with as a demonologist, when it comes to something that is inhuman, demonic, whatever you want to call it, fallen angel, these things have existed long before we have.
Right.
And they know us better than we know ourselves. They know our weaknesses. They know our strengths. And they know how to use it against us. So I've always warned those that say, I believe I have the calling to be a demonologist.
I believe so.
Are you sure? Are you sure? I was asking them, are you sure this is a calling? And then I go down the row and I tell them as to what I've had to go through. And, and then I look at them and I say, are you think you're ready for that? I'm like, let me think about this again.
Yeah. It's like I said before, I mean, because I've never had a problem being honest with people. I mean, when people would ask me questions about demons and stuff like that, well, that's not my realm. That's not, and I would tell people and I would give them your name. And I was like, well, he's going to be the only person I will recommend. And I'm not joking when I say this. I mean, you're the only one I would actually tell people. He's the only guy that I'm ever going to, I would send anybody to that has questions about that. I said, because you're going to get an honest answer. And I said, he's about the only guy I would trust to give you the answers you need or, something in that manner. So, but I mean, I believe not a problem at all, man. Not a problem at all. And I mean, it's like I said, man, I mean, I've always had the most respect, even though, I've always been the skeptic guy and I've always been, and stuff like that. But I mean, I've always respected what you've done, and still, and I tell people this all the time. I mean, just because someone tells you they're a skeptic or whether they're a believer, whether, it doesn't matter, man. I mean, you can still sit down and learn something from somebody.
I agree.
Because if we don't sit and learn something, then, then how are we going to grow? How are you going to learn? How are you going to do anything? I mean, that's just how I look at it. And that's what I try to tell people, I mean, it doesn't, that's why I started this podcast. I don't mind sitting and talking to anybody, I mean, I want to learn from people. I want to, tell me why you do what you do. Tell me why you believe what you believe. I want to learn those things, I mean, it's like I said, if we don't sit down and learn from each other, I mean, it's like even tonight, man, me and you's cut a lot of damn jokes, and had some good damn laughs. And that's what, and I think sometimes of what people lack, sit down and have a conversation, man. I mean, you don't gotta,
It doesn't have to be so official. I mean, that's the same approach that I try to take on, with Vicky and on Greetings from Beyond Radio. Our approach is to learn from the guests that we have on at that one moment in time, because ultimately it's just not to showcase our guests, which of course is what we're doing, but it's also to learn from them and also have our audience learn from their experiences as well. It's about everybody.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
What this show is about. This is just not about you. It's about you learning from me and everyone that's listening now, learning from both of us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's been lost in a lot of these podcasts nowadays. People are just
I agree.
Not bothering. They're too busy chit-chatting about unimportant things, and they're not learning anything.
It's like, I agree with you.
That's I think something shows like yours and shows like the one that I'm in, there's a purpose, and there's a reason why I'm going to use the old-fashioned niche, not niche. I can't stand that.
Right.
I used niche for years. All of a sudden now they're saying niche. I'm like, nah.
Yeah. Right.
Nah, dude, come on, stop it. So, there's a niche for everyone. It's a matter of finding it and just fitting in and making yourself at home.
It's like even my second episode I had and by then, man, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it, but I had Tim Shaw on. And Tim's and I mean, again, like being a skeptic, like he collects, he has a haunted collection, and stuff like that. Well, I mean, even though I'm skeptic of it, but it doesn't mean that I don't believe him. But I tell you what, once I got him on, man, I tell you what, he's probably one of the most nicest guys in the world. He's one of the coolest guys to speak to. And at the very end, and I'll never forget, and I got to thank him for this, I really do. He says, dude, keep this going. He said, just keep this going. He says, you got a good thing here. And I'm like thinking, well, thanks, man. And just gave me a big boost of confidence, and I enjoy it, man. I really, even if I only had 5 listeners, I mean, all 5 of you out there, thank you so much,
it starts off small and builds momentum. I really don't care how many.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't care about the numbers.
I don't give a shit.
As far as I'm concerned, if people want to tune in, I think the largest turnout we had was on our show was when the whole cast, Legion of Exorcists, was on.
Okay.
And I think we're in the 4,000 views on YouTube.
Holy shit.
Wait, no. 400. Sorry, wait. I might be wrong about that. I don't know.
That's still a good number.
It's been a minute since I've looked because we're taking a break when it comes to greetings until later on this August. But the way I see it is like I was like, wow, we're in the 400s, and I'm like, that's pretty good. Uh-huh. So the way I see it is the others have been like, 150s, 160s, and stuff like that. I've had very interesting guests on there. Evelyn Hollow, Brian J. Kano, John Zaffis twice. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I learn from them, and I want people that are watching our show to learn from them as well. And that's key. If you're not learning anything, let them know. Hey, we're not learning anything from your show, but you need to step it up a bit. All right. Okay.
It's even because I started out by myself, and I even on my last episode, and I still like me and my ex-girlfriend, we split up, and she moved to Washington, but I mean we talk every day. We're still friends. And I tell everybody, she was the engine behind this podcast, whether people knows it or not. She's the one, she would go out and get guests for me. She would actually, she was the engine behind it. And I said it on the last episode. And like, even though now I got a co-host, Brooke, And Brooke is a huge believer, but everybody still says it. I mean, that girl, but she also does tours with me at the Hannah Mansion. And everybody's like, oh my God, we love how she blows you shit on that podcast. And I was like, well, hell, you got to see it in person. I was like, it ain't no different. It's like, she blows me shit there too. It's like, but I mean, it's a good dynamic, and, and it makes, like, even like when it's just me and her on the podcast, and she'll talk about a location she went to. Like, she'll talk about one time where she got scratched, and I was like, yeah, but was you leaning against something? Was you? And then the skeptic asshole comes in, no, but I wasn't leaning against nothing. Blah, 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 blah. So she's like, so she goes in that mode. So, I mean, it makes it awesome. It makes it fun, it makes it, but at the same time, you still, like, even having you on, even though a lot of people didn't know we've known each other for a long time.
Right.
And we go way back, we were colleagues, but it's still one of them things where, like, even a lot of stuff you said on the podcast tonight, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was just, I didn't know. And I'm glad I've asked. I mean, and stuff like that. I mean, even though that's not my realm, I still love to know. And I think that's what the paranormal community, I think it lacks. I really do. I think it lacks where nobody wants to learn anything. Nobody wants to sit back and, kind of like, learn something from this guy. You can always learn something here. Even me being a photographer, I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly watching other photographers. Like, how do they do this? Like, oh my God, I love that. I love that work. I love how they did that, and never stop learning, never stop,
One of the subject matters that I actually want to get into more than anything after they had that big hearing in Congress about UFOs and aliens existing.
Oh, dude, I've been on top of that. I've already been on top of it.
And I'm like, okay, so how much of our technology have they already affected? How many governments have they been involved in? Are all our politicians aliens? I mean, I don't know. I mean, now it's the questions that I have. I want to know.
Yeah,
these cell phones, were they created by aliens?
I had a UFO researcher on the podcast, again, when I first started the podcast, and Sarah knew who he was. So Sarah got him on for me. And the conversations me and this guy was having was just unreal. And I said, the one thing that always fascinated me, like I've been a machinist for 27 years. And then I started, like, when I went to Rolls-Royce, I've worked in aerospace before that, but that's one of the biggest aerospace companies in the world. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a museum there at the Indianapolis plant. You go in the museum, and then you just see all this, like, how this engine looked years ago. And then all of a sudden, and we're not talking that, it was not that long ago. If you honestly think about it, when we first started flying and started, aircraft, if you look from then to now, look how fast we went up in technology. Quick.
And we're still behind compared to the evidence they showed in that congressional hearing. Yes. I was like, that tic-tac thing that they kept showing.
With Commander David Fravor.
Yeah. And it just goes like that, and you're like, what the hell was that? And it's like, they literally asked him, do we have that type of technology to where we
And he said no.
Fast? He said no. We're not even close.
When I first discovered him, I saw him on Joe Rogan's podcast. And he was describing, and this guy went through, like, Top Gun. Well, it's not called Top Gun, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Something similar to it, yeah.
Yeah. And he's even went through all this, top of his class, top commander of his own fleet.
And when he's describing how he went after it, like he actually flew, and when he was talking how it maneuvered with him,
Mm-hmm.
it locked up the missiles, it jammed up. He goes, and then exactly what you just said, when you saw the congressional hearings, he really looked at that lady and said, whatever that was, we ain't got it.
And that's the scary point. You know, you have to think, what else do they have? That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Uh-huh.
We have the rest of the iceberg to go, and the rest that's beneath the water. And
yes.
we haven't even scratched the surface. So I'm like, okay, so what now? I have so many questions that I need to know. I need to have answers to.
Yeah.
But, you know, well, I guess we'll find out soon. I guess when there's like a strikeout by Area 51.
Yeah.
People say, we want aliens. We'll know. But you know what? I'm going to have to let you go.
If you don't mind, can you answer one question for a friend of mine?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'll go as quick as I can.
Sure.
Okay, I appreciate this. I really do. Okay. Her question is, does an exorcism work better in person versus on the phone or on a Zoom call?
Of course. Here's the thing. In worst case scenario, I've heard of exorcisms that have had to be done on phone, and I've even tested. It wasn't through an exorcism, but it was to test to see if there was something there, and it was through I forgot the name of it. It was something before Zoom, Skype.
Yes. Okay.
And I actually saw the poltergeist activity going on behind her as I was, doing the prayers.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. It was like the faucet was turning on behind her. There was things flying across the room, and I was
really,
like, what the hell? And I'm continuing. She said, please stop. I can't anymore. And she's like, thank you for trying to help. I never heard from her again. Ever.
Okay.
And this was an incubus case.
Okay.
That she had going on. It can, but it's best when the person is there to do the deliverance or the exorcism, because you can feel out what's going on with that person.
Okay.
And you have to be mindful of their health, if they're being zapped, if they're being zapped in the sense of energy-wise, there could be a heart attack that can happen. There's a plethora of things that can go wrong. So it's always best that the person is there. The way that Bishop Long used to do it, and still does, is he makes sure that there's an EMT present at all times to take their blood pressure, their vitals, and everything.
Oh, okay. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. The demon can actually literally stop you from living. I mean, they'll kill you, in an attempt to not be cast out. They will actually take you out.
Wow. Okay. Well, I appreciate you answering that. I really do, man. And again, thank you for coming on tonight, man. It was because, like I said, man, I don't think we've talked. Last time we talked, man, it's been a long time.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
It's been a while. Then so it was kind of like when Jen wrote me, she was kind of like, hey, there's this, his name is Rich Valdes. And I went, yeah, I know Rich, man. We go way back, I was like, yeah, I said, man, I'd love to have him on, man. I was like, man, I haven't talked to him in a long time. So,
sure,
man, thanks for coming on, dude. I mean,
I appreciate it.
It was, tonight was awesome, man. I mean, it was great talking to you again. It was great catching up, and it was just all of it, man. And I mean,
I've been looking forward to it, and also I hope my promoting your page gets people out there.
Appreciate that. I really, dude, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, man, I appreciate that. Yeah. And if you can, man, send me some links.
I can tell you the links if you want. I mean, just I'm not accepting friends requests now.
I was saying when I get the YouTube channel up in the description box, I will put the links for the Legion of Exorcists and stuff like that, or something like.
In the meantime, people could actually follow me on everything Rich Valdes, Demonologist on Facebook. And on Instagram, they can follow me on the real Rich Valdes with the underscore between the real Rich Valdes. And
then I'll just go ahead and I'll post those links in the description box for everybody.
That works. I mean, that's the best way, people, because right now you made the cut, bud. Because I've been taking a lot of people out of my friends list, and it's, if people want to follow me, they can only follow me through a fan page, and that's fine. I'm always posting something up there, anyways.
Yeah, I know the feeling, because I mean I'm not on social media that like I am, but I limit the time I'm on social media now.
I don't blame
you. You know, I do my thing, and I'm done. You know, it's just. You know, so
you're off to watch the Indianapolis Colts.
You got it, buddy. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on, dude, and come back if you ever want to come back on, just dude, hit me up.
No problem, man.
Man, just hit me up and we'll do it again. No problem at all.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right, dude. Well, have a good night, brother.
You too.
Take care. All right. Take care, buddy.